Hello everybody, and welcome to another Tausken review. Today we'll be taking a look at Ori and the Will of the Wisps, the sequel to the original Ori game. Now, Will of the Wisps is a fantastic sequel because it basically improves in almost every possible way. The story right off the bat is incredibly gripping, and much like the Blind Forest, it's told mostly through text with some noises for the different characters, but much like the Blind Forest, it has an amazing soundtrack and just fantastical sound notes that really grip you into the story. Every emotional story beat is just hit with this incredible track that just blows you away and nails the emotions. It plays on the same themes as the original, with loss and darkness. It looks deceptively simple when you look at it, but it's actually incredibly complex. Even villains have tragic backstories that really make you understand them much more than being simple villains. I don't want to get too deep into the story for spoilers, but I will say that the story is beautiful, much like the original game, and I would say it's even better than the original game's story. It's accompanied by that fantastic soundtrack that really just tugs at your emotions at the right time and really brings this whole to a complete package. Gameplay has evolved quite a bit from the first game. You start off with just a handful of abilities, much like you did in the original, but are quickly given a diverse set of options to choose from. The old system has been swapped out for the ability to swap things on the fly and choose different upgrades from the shard system. The changes are great and make it feel like you can really customize your Ori just how you want to play. Many of the bad abilities from the original game have been redesigned or replaced with better ones, and as a result, it feels like a much more robust and full-out package. The basic attack, for example, is significantly better than the original basic attack from the first game. Like, it just is night and day. It's so much better. It makes the game so much more approachable and easy to get into. Enemy diversity is just as complex as before, with unique movesets and abilities, making them just an utter blast to play. It's so much fun because each area has its own unique enemies, and it really makes things just feel so fresh as you're playing through the game. There's all these unique and interesting challenges to constantly try and get accustomed to. Along with a bunch of interesting fun boss fights, it also really makes things up as well. At its core, these games are a giant Metroidvania-like platformer. The maps are huge, with all sorts of interconnected labyrinths like mazes to basically find your way through. As you progress, you'll unlock new abilities, allow you to traverse the map more freely, and open new paths that otherwise wouldn't have been open before. Each area has its own unique theme that helps to make the game never feel like it gets stale. It's just a blast to really explore this game. The map is so well done. The graphics are pretty gorgeous. It's like playing in a Pixar world at times. The characters, the worlds, the environments all look fantastic. It's really beautifully animated. It's got like a deceptive look to it. It looks like it's kind of 2D, but there's a ton of detail to the actual models. I did run into a few bugs. At one point, I had a boss that completely cut out randomly, and at another, a certain ability didn't work. Fortunately, these were far and few between and didn't otherwise impact my playthrough at all, but it is something that I ran into. Overall, Ori and the Will of the Wisps is a fantastic and perfect follow-up to the original game. It improves where the original needed it in places like the combat, especially that starting ability, while expanding upon the amazing storytelling and overall platforming gameplay. It's hands down one of the best platformers and Metroidvania-like games I've ever played, and that has definitely ever been created. My only real problem with the game was the bugs that I ran into at times that caused certain bosses to not work. But otherwise, it was pretty rare and otherwise had a flawless experience, so it was a ton of fun to play. Ori and the Will of the Wisps gets a 9 out of 10. I would highly recommend this game to people who are even remotely interested or who played the original. It's one of the best games I've honestly ever played.